It's time once again for Bender on Basketball with Illinois State University head coach Bob Bender. Today's show is brought to you by Hardee's and by Country Companies. When it matters most, the country's behind you. And by S&K Famous Brands Menswear, the finest quality menswear available. And now, here's your host, Lee Hall.
Welcome to our Christmas edition of Bender on Basketball. I'm Lee Hall, along with the head coach of the Illinois State Redbirds, Bob Bender. And unfortunately, you get, I guess it's not a gift, it's kind of a lump of coal going into Christmas, the thumb injury to Richard Thomas.
Yeah, it's not the best thing that could happen to, especially getting ready, Lee, to go to Southwest to play. But injuries occur, and fortunately for us, this type of injury requires surgery to get him back to 100%, so there was really no indecision about having the surgery done. The question was when, and looking at our schedule, looking at the big picture, there left little doubt that to do it immediately after the Idaho State game was the best. He'd be able to have this entire week and be only maybe hopefully miss one game against Southwest and be ready for Albuquerque when we go to the Lobo Classic and be back at 100% by then. With it being a wrist with it being an injury to his thumb, he can also, though, continue his conditioning, so he's not going to lose that much.
A little over 9 points a game, over 4 assists a game for the junior, Richard Thomas, and you lose more than just numbers when you lose him. You lose your leader on the floor, really.
Yeah, and Richard has been playing well for the past 2 games, especially, I think, from a leadership standpoint. He's really given us some direction on the floor, and the problem for us in that specific game, Southwest, is that their strength is in ball pressure from Crawford, their leading point guard, and so we're going to have to really be able to handle that and not turn the ball over.
Antoine Hicks will get the start in place of Richard Thomas against Southwest tonight. We will hear from him later in the show. We had a chance earlier this week to catch up with junior Richard Thomas. We're with Richard Thomas, who's watching practice today and instead of participating, and I know that's got to be hard for you.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Guys out there playing, getting ready for a big game over in Southwest Missouri, and me sitting out, with a bad thumb right now, but hopefully he'll be back real soon.
Tell me about exactly what they did to the thumb.
Well, Dr. Dustman, surgeon doctor that did the operation, he went in and repaired the ulnar collateral ligament on the thumb, just stitched it up. It had, it's the only ligament in the thumb that doesn't repair on its own, and so they repaired it a little bit and stitched it back up, stitched up the outside, and put me right back out on the court.
How did you do it?
Well, what happened was we were pressing, and the guy came up towards me, and I went up towards him, and he gave me a quick elbow and bent my thumb back pretty far. So, and I guess I heard something pop when it happened, but I thought it was just a sprain or something. But
we just talked to Richard Thomas about his thumb injury. What can you tell us about what's going on with him?
He's come along very well. The surgery was very successful. Dr. Dustman did a great job. He was very happy with the result, and so we're hopeful that Richard's going to be back very quickly.
What kind of things is he going to be doing now while he's not practicing with the team?
I got him running upstairs right now. He's going to do a lot of conditioning. We did some shooting after practice yesterday, free throws, jump shots. He can do everything basically he can do during practice except with no contact.
How soon can we expect to see you back and playing?
Well, as soon as probably the Christmas tournament. So, I should be back and ready to go in New Mexico.
Great. Thanks, Richard.
All right, thanks.
Well, Richard obviously in good spirits, and the Redbirds expect to have him back in time for the upcoming Lobo Classic in New Mexico. We'll be back coming up on Bender on Basketball. We will look back at the big victory over Idaho State, and we will also find out just what the Redbirds want for Christmas, all when we return.
Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive.
Hi, I'm Bob Bender, coach of the ISU basketball Redbirds. I'd like to take this moment to thank Country Companies for their continuing support of ISU and the Redbirds. Not only are Country Companies a big supporter of Redbird athletics, including this show, they're also an important community supporter of the academic programs at ISU. The hallways at Country Companies are filled with many ISU graduates, and Redbird Arena is often filled with Country Companies people who come to cheer the Redbirds. ISU Redbirds into Country Companies. It's a great tradition.
Welcome back to Bender on Basketball. Well, Coach, we've only got one game to talk about this week that you played, but it's a fun one to talk about. A 95-63 win over Idaho State. And this Redbird Review is brought to us by Country Companies, and a game where you set records for points in a game, margin of victory, an overall great game for you.
We played well. We had really practiced hardly. I think that set the tone for how we came out. We put forth the effort for the entire week to play good defense and to take away a lot of things Idaho State wanted to do, and we did that. As the game progressed, the thing that was very pleased with, and I thought showed some maturity and that we have improved, is that how we handled being in front, because we hadn't been in that position very often. And we went in halftime, we challenged the team to not get out of character. Let's go out in the second half as if the score was 0-0 and we had another 20-minute game to play. And we responded very well. I thought that throughout the entire game we kept playing better, and I hope that that's the kind of feeling and the direction that the team got from the game, not to just simply be satisfied because we played well, but to know that we need to keep building.
It's funny how little things develop in a game, but I thought one play that really sparked you guys, it was 14-11. There's an inbounds play. Scott Taylor makes a bad pass, but Todd Wemhaner hustles, tips the ball to Richard Thomas, and Taylor ends up with the dunk, and then you guys go on an 11-2 run, outscoring 40-17 the rest of the half, and the game's over at that point.
Well, we've talked with our team about things like that, Lee. It's mature and basketball knowledge allows you to realize there's going to be big plays in each game, and the big plays are not necessarily the dunk, but like you said, it's getting the loose ball that leads to a pass that leads to the dunk. And I think that's where we're improving in an area of not leading things up to chance. Instead, we're taking control of everything, and if it means getting the loose ball or stepping up and taking the charge, those are the things that are going to allow us to be successful.
It wasn't long after that Todd Wemhaner came up with another good play. It looks like he takes a bad shot here, but it's the alley-oop to Reggie Wilson to give you a 14-point lead.
Well, you know, with Todd, he's becoming more aggressive with his offense, so that now people are going to play him honestly, and he's creative enough to see people, and he knows how to throw the ball to Reggie. You know, that's the key is not always just to be a good passer, but know how to throw the ball to different individuals. And we know that when we throw the ball to Reggie, don't throw it to his opponent, throw it to where Reggie can go get it, and that's the decision Todd made, and he's very good at that.
Defensively, you guys were double-teaming and even triple-teaming the low post man at times, and that just really gave them fits, and they couldn't get anything going offensively.
I think we got them frustrated early on because we were playing good post defense, and when they were catching it, they were catching it under pressure, catching it in traffic, and they had a number of walking calls, and I know that Herb Williams was a little upset with the number, but when we were watching tape in preparation, it looked as though whenever they were pressured well in the post and did not have a clear lane to drop, step, and power, that they did shuffle their feet, and I think the whole thing snowballed on them and they got frustrated.
Our Hardy's player of the game for the Idaho State win, Richard Thomas. He only had 9 points, but he had 7 assists and only missed 1 shot from the field. Obviously, Reggie Wilson or Scott Fowler also deserving of the award, but Richard gets it this time.
I think that that's the kind of game that Richard has to have for us night in and night out, and that's an efficient game. He may not be the leading scorer, but to be his field goal percentage be up and his turnover to assist ratio be in our favor.
Of course, Richard will miss Saturday's game, tonight's game against Southwest Missouri State, and that's a unique opportunity for Antoine Hicks. Like Santa, Bob Bender asks a new guy to lead his team at Southwest Missouri State. While Richard Thomas is away with a bad thumb, Antoine Hicks will play and hopefully guide the Redbirds through the storm.
When you hear that Richard's going out, and then you kind of wonder, well, maybe it'll be me that has to step in. And then once you do, you don't really want to change what you've been doing, because I think I put myself in a good position at the beginning of the season. So you don't really want to change anything you do, just kind of emphasize and work a little harder.
Antoine's hard work in the past has come in obscurity. No shiny nose to illuminate a career that's seen little playing time and even less scoring. The senior guard averaging less than a point a game last season. Still, Hicks presses on.
Many people don't get the opportunity at all in life to do the things that we get to do here, playing basketball and go to school. And I mean, it's something to be, you know, proud of once it's all over. You know, it's something to tell your kids about, it's something to tell your friends about. And also, a lot of young guys don't have, you know, role models. And you can tell someone that you rode the bench and played and won championships and worked hard. I mean, if that's not enough role model for her, then nothing else will be.
Hicks won't ever be the most famous Redbird of all, but he could be the most important tonight as the Redbirds kick off the Missouri Valley Conference season.
We're not expecting him to score 20 points in this ballgame. What we're expecting him to do is be able to handle the basketball, get us into our offenses, put good pressure on the defensive end, and make good decisions.
They have very quick guards. And distributing the ball to our inside people, I think that's our strength this year, because I don't think anyone can match up with Wilson and Scott Fowler as far as size and strength. So, I mean, just distributing the ball and hitting open shot, I think, will be a key for us. It's something that all college players, don't get an opportunity to get. I mean, so I got this opportunity, and I'm kind of excited myself.
So an early Christmas presents of sorts for Antoine Hicks, and we spoke with some of the other Redbirds to find out just what they like to find in their stocking come Christmas morning.
What I want for Christmas, a win against Southwest to start, and hopefully wins in our Christmas tournament.
I'm going to win in Albuquerque. Bring home a trophy from Albuquerque. That's my first wish.
How about what you want to see wrapped under the tree for you?
Wrapped up under the tree, I don't know, maybe a gold link bracelet.
Basketball-wise, probably a win this weekend, and other than that, maybe a new car or something, BMW.
Think big, man.
Redbird fans are among the most loyal in the world. Because of you, we've been able to build our athletic tradition of excellence. And now, through a marvelous new program, you can save substantially on your long-distance phone bill while helping develop ISU athletics. Through this special program, Affinity Fund will contribute a percentage of your long-distance bill to Illinois State. Call today for this free brochure that will explain the exciting benefits of this program. Start ringing for the Redbirds and save on your long-distance bill with Affinity Fund.
Welcome back to our Christmas edition of Bender on Basketball. It's time now for our Redbird Player Profile, brought to us by S&K Famous Brands Menswear. We are joined by senior forward Reggie Wilson, and we talked to some of the other Redbirds about what they'd like to see under the tree for Christmas. How about you?
To start things off, I'd like to win at Southwest Missouri State. That'll be a big game for us. Put us on the top with Creighton for leading the Valley, 1-0. And we can go into the Lobo Classic with a win on our belt.
How important is it for you guys to get off to a good start in the Valley?
It's very important because that's one of our goals for this year is to prove the critics wrong, and they have us pick ninth or 8th in some of the polls, and we want to try and prove them wrong.
Tell me about going down to Springfield. That's got to be one of the toughest places to play in the Valley, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely. Our players last year, I like playing in places like that, and they really help us and go into the game, play harder, and come out and do the things that we want to do.
How would you describe your season so far? I mean, you started off, you had the 20 points in the opening game against Virginia Commonwealth, then you kind of went into a lull there where you scored in single digits. What was going on with you during those two games?
I think I started off the game looking for my shot, and they weren't falling, so I kind of put my head down, and it was like a lot of pressure on me, which it shouldn't have been, because just to go out and play hard every night is what I should do, because that's what the coaches want me to do, and I was putting a little bit too much pressure on myself, and I kind of got down the slump.
So are you relaxing more? I mean, you're obviously back. You're about 12.3 points a game over the last 3 games, so things are improving anyway.
Yeah, hopefully. That's for the better. That was only one game, the Idaho State game. We'll see us at Southwest Missouri, and points are no issue to me. I just want to win, so do the little things that we can.
Let's talk about having Scott Fowler in there. Of course, he is back, but you've never played with him before. How tough has it been? Was that maybe part of the problem, getting adjusted to having Scott in the lineup and you guys sharing the time in there?
Yeah, I wouldn't really call it a problem. It was just something I had to get used to, just as he had to do with myself. Last year, we spent the earlier part of the season before he went down with the injury, but that was just a lot of practice games and exhibitions, so that wasn't enough for me to get used to him. And under the system that we run with the high-low post-exchange offense, we just had to get used to each other with the timing.
If you got one thing in your game that you'd like to improve between now and, say, the Valley tournament coming up in March, what would it be?
Free throw shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take care of that a little bit.
Yeah, I've been trying to work on it a little bit in practice, but you know, I'm a streaky free throw shooter. Sometimes I hit 6 in a row, and sometimes I might miss 4 or 5 in a row. So I want to get that taken care of.
All right. Well, continued success to you the rest of the season.
Thanks.
Reggie Wilson, the senior forward for Illinois State. We, as we mentioned, we talked to the players about what they would like for Christmas, and in keeping with that Christmas spirit, they bring you now their rendition of "'Twas the Night Before Christmas."
'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse.
The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas would soon be there.
The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads.
When out on the lawn there rose such a clatter, I sprang from the bench to see what was the matter.
Away to the window, I flew like a flash, so I opened the shutters and threw open the sash.
When what to my wondering eye should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer.
With a little old driver, so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick.
He was dressed in all fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot.
He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all his stockings, then turned with a jerk. And laying his finger aside his nose, and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose.
He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they flew like a down of a thistle.
But I heard him exclaim, as he drove out of sight, Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
Welcome back to Bender on Basketball. You know, only 3 shopping days left till Christmas.
Yeah, and I've really got it all done, too.
I haven't started.
Yeah, well, you work well under pressure. You know, the game's a little bit like that, too, right?
Right. Tonight, of course, the game under pressure is Southwest Missouri State. A totally new lineup, practically, for the Bears, but not unusual under Charlie Spoonhour. They're off to a 5-1 start.
Well, their talent level will never dip under Charlie. You know, they have players that leave and graduate, and they have people coming in right behind them just as talented. And the thing that surprises me, though, Lee, a little bit is I think they're a different team personality-wise, and their emphasis a year ago I felt was more in half-court offense with Bernard Reed and that group. Thornton, those guys could just pound it in on you and cause you all kinds of problems at half court. Now this year I think they try and extend everything, both their defense and their offense, and take the use of Crawford and Murdoch and Graves and Albright, although Albright will be out for our game. I think they're more up-tempo this year, and maybe that makes them even more difficult to defend and to prepare for. But Charlie's teams are very tough to play down in the Hammond Center. We all know that, and yet I think what Reggie said is true, is that you go into a great atmosphere, even when you're on the road, it makes you play better.
You talk about how good they are at the Hammond Center. 81% of their games since they moved into the building, they've won. That's 88% under Charlie Spoonhour, and not only is Charlie a kind of a comedian, he's a heck of a coach, and he really relies on the junior college players. Graves and Crawford are their top 2 scorers, and these are 2 new guys.
Yeah, Charlie does a great job not only recruiting junior college players, but I think in developing them. And that takes a special talent, and Charlie's got that, because you only have them for 2 years, and you got to get guys that can pick things up quickly, and also you have to be the type of person that instills your system in them quickly, and then Charlie does a tremendous job of that.
How will your game plan change with Richard Thomas out of the game and Antoine Hicks at the point?
Well, it won't change in what we're trying to do. That is, we need to really spread the floor and try and get them to have to extend their defense up and take advantage of basket cuts, back picks, try and create problems for them not having a help side. The challenge for Antoine, Todd Cagle, Todd Wamehainer, Chad Altadonna is that they have to value the basketball. They cannot turn it over. And against their pressure, it's going to be pretty difficult.
It's the first game of the Valley season, and then you don't play another Valley game until January 4th, I believe. Let's talk a little bit about the Valley race, though. Southwest has got to obviously be up there at the top, and Southern Illinois off to a good start, too.
Southern and Southwest are, I think, before the season started, everybody would be in agreement that they would contend for the championship. You know, we've got one game under our belt now under the in the Valley with Creighton and Bradley. Creighton coming away with a big road win at Bradley. We're now the second game, and that's one of the things that we've talked about with the team, is that this gives us an opportunity to put ourselves in great position in the Valley right away, because if we could win at Springfield, it's something that a lot of people aren't going to do this year. And then we don't play again. We go back on the road our second game at Creighton. Again, it's a team that already has one road win. So it kind of the scenario is already starting to develop.
Do you see any team in the Valley maybe being a surprise if we talk about Southern and Southwest? Any other team that might jump up there and make a run at it?
Well, I'll tell you, I've seen Bradley, Creighton, of course Southwest on tape, and I saw the Tulsa UAB game. I'll tell you, Tulsa is very, very good. I think they are extremely athletic and play awfully hard, and they're going to be, it's like whenever you've gone to Tulsa, you better be ready for pressure, and they're going to be able to do it. But I think right now, the team that is performing consistently at a high level is Southern Illinois. And so I really think that everybody's going to be chasing them still.
Just in case Mrs. Bender is watching the show, what would you like under the Christmas tree come Wednesday morning?
I'm a very simple person. I would like to see us have a road win at Southwest, and then I'd like to just see all of our kids have a successful season, both on and off the court, and no more repeats of having to deal with the Gulf crisis last year. You know, peace in the world. Very simple.
And a new tie, perhaps.
A new tie for you. So we don't have to listen. I'm glad when Christmas is over, so we don't have to listen to your tie.
All right.
Play the music.
I wasn't going to play it, but there it is. Courtesy of my father, who has a very warped sense of humor. But seriously, Coach, happy holidays to you and yours, and to all Redbird fans. And we leave you with a holiday wish from the Redbirds. We'll see you next week.
I'll have a blue Christmas without you. I'll have a blue Christmas without you. I'll be so blue as I'm thinking about you. Look at him. Decorations of red on a green Christmas tree. Just won't be the same. No. Just won't be the same, dear, if you're not here with me.
And when those blue snowflakes start falling,
that's when those blue memories start calling.
You'll be doing all right with your Christmas of white.
Elvis. With your Christmas of white.
Oh, okay, all right. You'll be doing all right with your Christmas of white.
But I'll have a blue,
blue, blue, blue, blue Christmas.
Ladies and gentlemen, Elvis has left the building.